Hi. I have a box to open. Hold on just a second. I bet you can tell what this is. Normally, I'm used to these things coming with a box inside of a box, and this just had a whole bunch of this funny crinkled paper tubing, is what it looks like, with this wrapped in that foam little cloth. And this is another Harley Benton guitar. I ordered 2 others from them that were B-stock. That could mean either a demo, one that was tried out in the store, something like that, or something that was returned by a customer that had purchased one. And this is another 12-string. Smaller overall. It's supposed to have the same scale length. And this needs to be tuned up. They aren't quite as slack as the Eastwood guitar came to me. But give me just a minute, we'll tune it up, and we'll hear how this one sounds. Okay, we're back, tuned up. I also lowered the action a little bit at the bridge. I put a little bit of relief into the neck. It almost seemed like it had a little bit of back bow. So I did a little bit of setup work, and I also intonated, it was mainly the high E strings. We're going to start with everything opened, or everything all the way on, volume, 2 volumes, 2 tones. We're going to start with the bridge pickup. I'm going to attempt to play what I originally played on the Eastwood. Now we're going to go to the neck pickup. Now both pickups combined. The intonation appears to be pretty nice now. At least, again, up to the 12th fret. And I don't see myself playing on a 12 string much beyond that. Maybe a little bit of lead stuff. So I'm thinking, first impressions, that the Harley Benton and the Eastwood are very, very similar. This is a much shorter guitar because of where the bridge is set, number one, into the body. This one is set way up here, closer, not closer to the neck, but the body extends much, much, much further down. This one is only about, I don't know, 7 inches. This one is like a foot, something like that. So if I put the bridges at about the same spot, the nuts look to be about the same. So it's the same scale length. This headstock is a little bit longer, not a big deal. The fretboard, I think, is slightly wider on the Eastwood, with maybe a slightly thinner neck, not quite as deep. This has a little bit rounder, and they're both, I think, a C-shaped neck. But this one has a little bit more depth to it. This one has a slightly more width to it, which positions the strings slightly further apart and makes it easier for me and my fat little chubby fingers to do my A chord. That's the only difference I've found so far. I think sound-wise, the pickups look absolutely identical. They're both made, as far as I know, this one I know is made in China. I'm pretty sure the Eastwood is made in China as well. This has a flamed maple top. This has a, I don't think they call it maple. I'm going to include all of the specs down in the description box below this video so that you can see that, because I don't know all of the details. Rosewood fretboard. This has, I believe they called it Amaranth. When I bought this, it changes frequently. It used to be like a real baked maple on some of them, and I forget what they called that. Doesn't matter. But this was listed as Amaranth, or Amaranth, for the fretboard material, dot inlays instead of the shark tooth inlays. So definitely a fancier guitar. This is based off of a Gretsch. This is based with a slight look of a Rickenbacker, except the Rickenbackers that had this shape did not have an F-hole from what I saw on the Rickenbacker site. They were a solid body, and this, as far as I can tell, it's a type of mahogany, I believe a maple neck, that has a maple neck also. And the mahogany, there is no back cap like the Eastwood has. It's a definite, it has a front face, back, or a top, back. This has a separate top, but the back and sides are all one piece, not one piece. I believe it's a multi-piece chunk of wood. Regardless of that, this is carved out partially to get the semi-hollow feel instead of having a center block put in. Without the center block, this would be a completely hollow guitar. I hope that makes sense. This, not so much. This is pretty heavy. I know it has a big hollow spot right here for the controls. And this is hollow, but it's not hollow down here. It's solid there. It's hollow here. But most of this is all solid. I think this is solid. Maybe not. But very different construction methods. This one weighs probably more than the Eastwood. I will do a complete comparison later on and do them a side-by-side sound sample so we can hear what those are like. But my first impressions of the Harley Benton RB-612, I think is what they call this, CS for Cherry Sunburst. They call this Fireburst. It's the same basic finish. Flame maple versus a plainer type top. And I don't believe it's maple. I think it's something else. It could be alder. I don't know. As again, I'll list all the specs down in the description box. The tuners on this are a die-cast tuner type, similar to what is on the Eastwood, but the Eastwood tuners feel better. I think the ratio is a little bit better on these tuners. This one tuned up fine. It seems to be holding tune fine, as the Eastwood did, but this one, it took little smaller increments to dial in the exact pitch, and it was a little bit more difficult, I felt, on this than on the Eastwood. Hope you liked my first look at the Harley Benton RB-612, I think, CS. And this is part of their Classic series. It's interesting that they both use the term classic in the design of these. Interesting to me. They both have stock tailpiece. This has a plate or a cover over the bridge saddles. I guess it's to rest your hand on. I don't normally rest my hand on that, but unless I'm trying to mute strings, which this makes it impossible to mute strings right over those saddles. So I may or may not leave that on, I don't know. I like the idea of having 2 volumes and 2 tones. Not that I use them regularly, but it is a different option. And I believe I got it wrong on this. I think this is a master tone with 2 volumes on there. Again, I haven't played with it. Usually I turn everything all the way up on my guitars. I've been, on some of my guitars, I've been experimenting with dialing back the volume a little bit, things like that on some songs. But I also have a volume pedal that I do that with quite often also. So I hope you liked the sound sample and the first look at the Harley Benton. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Click the little bell down over there so that you can be aware the next time I post a video. It might be comparing these two side by side in depth. That'll be coming. It could be a music video where I use many different types of instruments in combination to do my music videos, mostly centered around the Native American flute. They kind of take the place of a vocal in most of my music, carrying an improvised melody line in most cases. You might see a tutorial on how to play the Native American flute. It is a simple instrument, but it can get a little bit more technical if you want it to. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an awesome day. Take care.